Greetings everyone, I, Rupert James Alabata, and together with my groupmates, Sharif Concepcion and Lance Panganiban, will be discussing the Presidential Decree 1067, the Water Code of the Philippines. The objectives of this code are to establish the basic principles and framework relating to the appropriation, control and conservation of water resources, and to achieve the optimum development and rational utilization of these resources. To define the extent of the rights and obligation of water users and owners, including the protection and regulation of such rights. To adopt a basic law governing the ownership, appropriation, utilization, exploitation, development, conservation and protection of water resources and rights to the land related thereto, and to identify the administrative agencies which will enforce this code. The underlying principles of this code. All waters belong to the state. All waters that belong to the state cannot be the subject to acquisitive prescription. The state may allow the use or development of waters by administration concession. The utilization, exploitation, development, conservation and protection of water resources shall be subject to the control and regulation of the government through the National Water Resources Council. Preference in the use and development of waters shall consider current usage and be responsive to the changing needs of the country. Waters, as used in the Water Code, refers to the water under the ground, water above the ground, water in the atmosphere, and the waters of the sea within the territorial jurisdiction of the Philippines. Ownership of waters, rivers and their natural beds, continuous or intermittent waters of springs and brooks running in their natural beds and the beds themselves, natural lakes and lagoons, all other categories of surface water such as water flowing over lands, water from rainfall, whether natural or artificial, and water from agricultural runoff, seepage and drainage, atmospheric water, subterranean or groundwater, and seawater. The following waters found in private lands: continuous or intermittent waters rising on such lands, lakes and lagoons, naturally waters rising on such lands, rainwater and falling on such lands, subterranean or groundwaters, and waters in swamps and marshes. All belongs to the state. Article 6. The owner of the land where the water is found may use the same for domestic purposes without securing a permit, provided that such use shall be registered when required by the National Water Resources Council. The Council, however, may regulate such use when there is wastage or in times of emergency. Article 7. Subject to the provisions of the Water Code, any person who captures or collects water by means of cisterns, tanks, or pools shall have exclusive control over such water and the right to dispose of the same. Again, I'm Rupert James Alabata, and this is the end of my discussion. The next topic is appropriation of waters, to be discussed or to be presented by Sharif Concepcion. Thank you for listening.
Good day everyone, I'm Sharif Concepcion, and I'm here to continue the report of Rupert Alabata. Slide 8. Appropriation of waters. As used in the Water Code, is the acquisition of rights over the use of waters, or the taking or diverting of waters from natural source, in the manner and for any purpose allowed by law. There are 8 uses of waters. Water is used for domestic, municipal, irrigation, power generation, fisheries, livestock raisings, industrial, and recreational. There's this term called water right. It is the privilege granted by the government to appropriate and use water. Water permit is a document evidencing the water right. General rule. No person, including government instrumentalities or government-owned corporations shall appropriate water without a water right, which shall be evidenced by a document known as a water permit. Exception for any person may appropriate or use natural bodies of water without securing a water permit for any of the following. First is appropriation of water by means of hand-carried receptacles. Second is bathing or washing, watering or dipping of domestic farm animals, and navigation of watercrafts or transportation of logs and other objects by flotation. Regalian Doctrine. It is a doctrine recognized in our Constitution whereby ownership of minerals and all forces of potential energy and other natural resources are reserved for the state. Utilization of waters. Development of water resources shall consider security of the state, multiple use, beneficial effects, adverse effects, and cost of development. The utilization of subterranean or groundwater shall be coordinated with that of surface waters such as rivers, streams, springs, and lakes, so that a superior right in one is not adversely affected by an inferior right in the other. Water contained in open canals, aqueducts, or reservoir of private persons may be used by any person for domestic purpose or for watering plants. Works for the storage, diversion, distribution, and utilization of water resources shall contain adequate provision for prevention and control of diseases.
Hi, I am Lanswerlo A. Panganiban, and I will continue the report of Sharif Concepcion. One of the world's biggest problems is the scarcity of water, and utilization of waters is an important way to preserve it. When the use of wastewater is feasible, it shall be limited as much as possible to such uses other than direct human consumption, so that the use of water will be lessened. Drainage systems shall be so constructed that their outlets are rivers, lakes, the sea, natural bodies of water, such other water course as may be approved by the proper government agency. The banks or rivers and streams and the shores of the seas and lakes throughout their entire length within a zone of 3 meters in urban areas, 20 meters in agricultural areas, and 40 meters in the forest areas along their margins are subject to the easement of public use in the interest of recreation, navigation, floatage, fishing, and salvage. Control of waters. Here are some ways that may help utilizing water. To promote the best interests and the coordinated protection of floodplain lands, the government may construct necessary flood control structures in declared flood control areas, and for this purpose, it shall have a legal easement as wide as may be needed along and adjacent to the river bank and outside the bed or channel of the river. River beds and sandbars and tidal flats may not be cultivated except upon prior permission. The impounding of water in ponds or reservoirs may be prohibited by the Council upon consultation with the Department of Health if it is dangerous to public health. Here are some articles related to the Water Code of the Philippines. Article 11. The state, for reasons of public policy, may declare waters not previously appropriated, in whole or in part, exempt from appropriation for any or all purposes, and thereupon such waters may not be appropriated for those purposes. Article 12. Waters appropriated for a particular purpose may be applied for another purpose only upon approval of the Council and on condition that the new use does not unduly prejudice the rights of other permittees or require an increase in the volume of water. Article 15. Only citizens of the Philippines of legal age as well as juridical persons who are duly qualified by law to exploit and develop water resources may apply for water permits. Article 20. The measure and limit of appropriation of water shall be beneficial use. Beneficial use of water is the utilization of water in the right amount during the period that the water is needed for producing the benefits for which the water is appropriated. Article 25. A holder of a water permit may demand the establishment of easements necessary for the construction and maintenance of the works and facilities needed for the beneficial use of the waters to be appropriated, subject to the requirements of just compensation and to the following conditions. Number 1. That he is the owner, lessee, mortgagee, or one having real right over the land upon which he proposes to use water. And 2. That the proposed easement is the most convenient and the least onerous to the servient estate. Easements relating to the appropriation and use of waters may be modified by agreement of the contracting parties provided the same is not contrary to law or prejudicial to third persons. Article 29. Water permits may be revoked after due notice and hearing on grounds of number 1. Non-use, number 2. Gross violation of the conditions imposed in the permit, number 3. Unauthorized sale of water, number 4. Willful failure or refusal to comply with rules and regulations or any lawful order, number 5. Pollution, number 6. Public nuisance, 7. Acts detrimental to public health and safety, 8. When the appropriator is found to be disqualified under the law to exploit and develop natural resources of the Philippines, 9. When, in the case of irrigation, the land is converted to non-agricultural purposes, and 10. Other similar grounds. Article 39. Except in cases of emergency, to save life or property, the construction or repair of the following works shall be undertaken only after the plans and specifications, therefore, as may be required by the Council, are approved by the proper government agency. Number 1. Dams for the diversion of or storage of water. 2. Structures for the use of water power. 3. Installation for the utilization of subterranean or groundwater. And 4. Other structures for utilization of water resources. Article 76. The establishment of cemeteries and waste disposal areas that may affect the source of the water supply or a reservoir for domestic or municipal use shall be subject to the rules and regulations promulgated by the Department of Health. Article 79. The administration and enforcement of the provisions of this code, including the granting of permits and the imposition of penalties for administrative violation thereof, are hereby vested in the Council, and except in regard to those functions which under the Code are specifically conferred upon other agencies of the government, The Council is hereby empowered to make all decisions and determinations provided for in this code. Thank you for listening.